Hey, welcome to my channel. You guys, as I'm recording this video right now, I don't even know what the title is going to be of this video because I have so many topics that I want to go over that all revolve around Summerwell's case and Summerwell's disappearance. Okay, so I want to start with number one. The awareness of Kathleen Moore. And this is Kathleen Moore right here. Kathleen Moore was allegedly murdered by her on and off again boyfriend of 5 years the weekend after Thanksgiving in Port Richey, Florida. Now, number two, law enforcement was working the path that they felt was going to lead them to Kathleen's missing body. Number three, law enforcement was wrong. Number four, boots on the ground actually led law enforcement to Kathleen Moore's remains. Number five, Kathleen Moore's remains were found in an area that had already been searched by law enforcement, search dogs, drones. They had already covered this area where she was located with dogs. Number six, Kathleen was found around 50 feet away from her murderer's house, the last place that she was known to be before she vanished. Number seven, we're going to watch a little bit of the press conference that was done on December 7th, 2021. That was the day after Colin Knapps was arrested without Kathleen's body being found. Colin Knapps was arrested on December 6th on second-degree homicide. They did not find Kathleen's remains until December 7th. And she was located 2 houses away from Colin's house. Now, number 8. How is this all related to Summerwell's case? Well, A, we know a search was done within a 5-mile radius of the Wells property, just as a search was done here for Kathleen Moore. We know that there were dogs used in both of these searches, along with manpower and drones and etc. Okay, this is Summerwell's property right here. This is where Summerwell's lived. This is her house right here where she was last seen. This treacherous terrain was searched to the best of the ability that law enforcement could do, with dogs. The same as Kathleen's search was done for her. Pasco County Sheriff said Kathleen's body was overlooked, that she was hidden. I believe these were his words exactly, that she was hidden by the environment, which is why the dogs missed her, why the people missed her, and why she was overlooked. Now, if Summerwell's is deceased, which I believe she is, and she's hidden somewhere by the environment, which I believe she is it possible that Summerwell's has been overlooked also? Is it possible that Summer is right where people have already looked, like Kathleen was? Anything's possible, right? Okay, so we're going to listen to JB on WFLA tell us how close Kathleen's remains were when they were found 2 houses away from Colin Knapps' house, the last place that she was known to be alive.
I'll get that answer for you here momentarily. Bonnie Nash, but yeah, we can talk about this one. Hashtag JB, did the boyfriend live that close to the area? Yeah, it's extraordinarily close. This is the row of homes on Carmel Avenue where Colin Knapps lived or lives. And of course, he was denied bond earlier today. I tweeted that out as well. So Colin Knapps being held on second-degree homicide and will not be released on bond, according to.
Okay, so I want to point something out here. I'm going to close that out. And I want to show you how close Kathleen actually was to Colin Knapps' house. This house right here, where this truck and trailer is in the front of the house, this is Colin's house. Okay, so you can see his house goes back this way, and then it goes over this way also. And then he has this white shed back here in the backyard. Okay, this is his house right here, right? Let me take that off. Now you see his house. Kathleen's remains were found one house, two houses over right here. Law enforcement is back in this section right here with a tent set up while JB is doing this newscast right now on December 7th, and they are discovering Kathleen's remains where dogs had already searched, where law enforcement had already searched. Now, law enforcement had followed a path, like I said, that they thought that they were going to find Kathleen's body. Okay, during the press statement, which we will watch a little bit of it, the Pasco County Sheriff said that they had already searched that location behind the house, but they went to Colin Knapp's place of work because Colin Knapp went there at 1:30 in the morning, and he said that he and Kathleen had just gotten into an argument between 12:30 and 1 a.m. that same morning. Okay, so just a half hour before, he decided to go to his place of employment to do a meat inventory. He works at a steakhouse. Okay, so he went to, it's like Harold Seltzer Steakhouse or something. He went there to do a meat inventory at 1:30 in the morning on Monday morning, November 29th, a half hour after Kathleen was last seen alive. So police went to this steakhouse. They went through the dumpsters. They actually had all the dumpsters taken to a landfill and dumped so that they could go through all of the contents of what was in the dumpsters, which is how they were able to get a warrant for Colin Knapp on a second-degree homicide, because they located Colin Knapp's clothing saturated in blood. Enough blood that they were able to get a second-degree homicide search or a second-degree homicide warrant for Colin Knapp. Okay, so they were on the right path in that direction. Now, Kathleen Moore's phone was found in a dumpster by a homeless man at a Walgreens that was just a couple blocks away from Colin's house that we're looking at right here on the screen right now. So the police took the route that they thought they should have gone down, and they needed to. They did. They got a warrant for Colin's arrest on second-degree homicide with what they found on that path that they went down. But my problem is, what I struggle with is, how did all of these people miss this human body, this adult human body, 50 feet away from her last known location? How did they miss that? She was hidden by the environment. He made it sound like she was covered up with brush, like there were limbs or tree branches, whatever, leaves. There was something covering her. And she was hidden on purpose. She was intentionally placed in that location and covered to be hidden. And she was hidden on purpose. She was intentionally placed in that location and covered to be hidden. And it worked. It worked for several days, actually, because she was reported missing on November 30th, I believe, in her county of residence, which was not Pasco. So the next day, that county realized she was last seen in Pasco County, so then they contacted Pasco, and Pasco took over. Okay, so that was around December 1st. So Colin had already had a couple days head start on all the law enforcement to hide his evidence. And then December 6th, he was arrested because of what they found in the dumpster at his work. And then December 7th, Kathleen Moore was found in an area where dogs had already been searching. Law enforcement considered that area clear. They had already searched it. The dogs had already searched it. They had already cleared that area. Okay, so in Summer Wells' case, law enforcement has already cleared that 5-mile radius of Summer Wells' home. Is it possible that Summer Wells has been overlooked? Is it possible? Now, I've already made a video one video about the search dogs and how search dogs can be wrong. And I used the Watts case as that example in that video. And I'll link that so you can check it out. I'll link it below and put an iCard up at the top here if you want to go back and watch that. But this is another case that is showing dogs do not always find human remains after they're deceased. They had the dogs back there within a week. A week of Kathleen's murder. Her body was just placed there within the week. Now, I'm not going to get into all of the nasty details about decomp. Okay, but we've all seen what happens with roadkill. Okay, that's a decomp process. Human bodies go through something very similar. And the odor is an odor that you will never forget. Unfortunately, myself, I have smelled a deceased body, and that is a smell that you will never forget. I promise. Kathleen Moore's body was right behind this house, right here, right through their backyard and into this wooded area right here. And nobody noticed an odor. The dogs were back there within 5 to 7 days, I believe. I could be wrong on that. I'm not exactly sure on the dates. I don't know the exact date that the dog was back there searching right now as I'm recording this video, but I know that it was fairly quickly since she was reported missing, last seen alive on November 28th, and her remains were discovered on December 7th. So again, I ask, is it possible that Summer Wells has been overlooked? Is it possible that Summer Wells has been right underneath multiple people's noses? Is it possible?
Really quickly something, and Bonnie, to answer your question really quickly, the boyfriend did live close to the area where the remains were found, extraordinarily close, really behind the homes on his street. But I want to bring this up from Jeff. Jeff was at the arraignment today.
Okay, so I just showed you that this house was 2 houses down. And this is house number 1, and this is house number 2. This right here is where law enforcement is. When the helicopter zooms in, you can see law enforcement personnel standing in this area. You can see there is a tent in that area. That's how close Kathleen Moore was to these people. And here's another view. Okay, here's that white shed that I said is in the backyard of Colin Knapps' house. Here's house number 1, and here's house number 2. And right here is law enforcement. One more view here. This is Colin's house right here. This is house number 1. This is house number 2. Law enforcement is right here. I mean, let that sink in just for a minute. Dogs searched this area. Dogs. search dogs, trained search dogs, searched this area. Okay, I think that this is the best view that I'm going to be able to get you, okay? And this is from WFLA's helicopter view. Okay, this house right here is Colin Knapps' house. And I know this because Andra, or Bullhorn Betty, was down there in front of his house. And JLR was down there in front of his house. They both showed the front of his house. They both walked up to his front door, which is right here. And we saw this truck and trailer out in the front yard of his house. This is Colin's house. We'll put a C on there. This is house number 1. This is house number 2. And dogs have already been back there. I know I keep repeating this, and I know I sound like a broken record, and I'm sorry. But, I mean, I'm trying to let it sink in. Dogs already searched this area. Dogs already searched Ben Hill Road for Summer Wells also. The dogs have already searched. So is it possible that Summer Wells has been overlooked, the same as Kathleen Moore had been overlooked? Is it possible? Is it possible that when this search was done on the property of the Wells home, inside the Wells home, around the Wells home, a 5-mile radius around the Wells home, is it possible that Summer Wells has been overlooked? Is it possible that she is in one of these areas that we have pictures of? Is it possible? Now we're going to watch what the sheriff had to say on why the dogs overlooked Kathleen Moore.
I can say, she is deceased. Today we positively identified her body based on tattoos. Nicole came in around 11:30 this morning that she was discovered in the woods off of Kamalo Drive, she was about 50 yards northeast of Colin Knapps' home. And so it was a very heavily brushed area. She was actually covered. You can almost describe she was definitely covered on purpose to make sure nobody can come upon her. And, even as detectives will tell you, even when you're 2 feet away from her, it's hard to see that her body was there. I will tell you, K9 did track that area. But there's several factors that come into it, wind, weather, decomposition. So, they did their best, but that wasn't just the focal point as we were looking at this investigation. There was an investigation. There was numerous places that we had looked at, the dumpster where the cell phone was found, at Sam's Seltzer's restaurant, the dumpsters that were brought to a location to go through. And I want to reiterate that. There was a lot of evidence that had been found as dumpsters. And when that was found, there was 14 additional industrial-sized dumpsters that went out there that our detectives combed through. Over 20 detectives were combing through these dumpsters because that's where all the evidence was leading to.
I have to make a correction. I said 50 feet, I think, and he said 50 yards. So I do want to clarify that. I apologize. 50 yards away, okay? 50 yards, half a football field away from Colin Knapps' house. Half a football field. Hidden by the environment. On purpose. Law enforcement stood 2 feet away and couldn't tell that she was there. So is it possible that Summer Wells has been overlooked?
But again, I want to thank our citizens. Last night we put out a plea for help, and they did. At 11:30 this morning, we got the call because citizens were out there helping us. And that's the one thing about Pasco County. Our citizens work with law enforcement. They work side by side with the sheriff's office. That's saying we fight as one. That's all of us. That's the we. And we are going to bring justice for Kathleen. We did that together. I wish to God we could bring her back. She's with God now. She's with the angels. And we pray for her. We pray for her family right now because they're going through so much. But with that, we will bring her justice. We will bring her family justice. That is important. So, I want to thank all the members of our community. I want to thank our detectives for the outstanding work they did. And I just ask right now that we pray for her family. And I also ask that if anybody is in a domestic violence relationship, please use Kathleen's life to learn from the fact that maybe her life, her sacrifice that she went through is to save somebody else. And it is to save you because you're in a horrible domestic violence relationship. Get out of it. Because if there's something positive that can come out of her death, is that somebody else will live. So please continue to pray for her. If you're in a horrible relationship, please get out of it. There are resources like Sunrise. We will get you help. With that, is there any questions?
And this breaks my heart because it's another death caused by DV. Another death. I know somebody who is personally in a DV situation currently. And I spoke to her last night. And she was showing me bruises because she had to go get medical help within this last week. And I asked her, I said, why? Why are you still there? And she said, I don't know. She said, I honestly have no idea. And I said, well, something is holding you there. Something is making you stay. Why? If any of you are survivors of DV and you can explain to me why you stayed in my comment section, or if you want to email me privately, please do, because I want to get this person help. And I feel helpless. I feel so helpless because I don't know how to help her. And I want to help her before she ends up on a newscast like this. And I hope that you'll be brave enough to be able to say it in the comment section, to maybe be inspiration for anybody who is watching that is currently in a DV situation. Maybe they're confused and they don't know why they're still there either. And maybe your words of experience will help something click with them. Because I don't want to shut this person out. I don't want to cut her off. I don't want to offend her. I don't want to say the wrong thing and her get upset with me. But at the same time, I worry every single day that I'm not going to ever hear from her again. Sorry, I need a minute. Okay, I apologize. Oh, that's what I mean when I said when I started this video, I don't have a title for this video yet, because there's so many different things that I want to cover just in this one little video, and I'm going to try to make it as short as I can, but I want to make sure that I touch on every single topic that I want to touch on related between Kathleen Moore's case and Summer Wells' case. And Kathleen Moore has something in common with Gabby Petito, a victim of DV. And it's just not right. It's just not right. Okay, so back to this press conference here. One of the reporters just asked about the dogs not finding Kathleen during their search. And the sheriff is getting ready to elaborate a little bit more than he already has. So let's listen.
One of those things, it's just one of those things that, we're human beings. We did our best. We've done our best. We had drones up. We had deputies out there. We had canines out there. And it's one of those things, she was a very wooded area, covered up. Wind, weather.
Did you just hear that? Dogs, drones, deputies. And she was overlooked. Dogs, drones, and deputies. Triple Ds. And she was still overlooked. And I'm not faulting law enforcement, okay? I back the blue, I really do. I'm not faulting them. I'm trying to figure out why and how. And is it possible that the same thing is happening in Hawkins County, Tennessee right now in Summer Wells' case? Is it possible? And if it is, where do we go from here? If this is a possibility that Summer Wells has been overlooked the same way that Kathleen Moore was overlooked, where do we go from here? What is our next step? What do we need to do to get Summer Wells located? Let's go back here and let's listen just a little bit again. And I do have this sped up just a little bit because it is WFLA. I don't own it. I want to alter it a little bit so I can use it for this educational video. Okay. So it is fair use, but I have it sped up just a little bit. So that's why it sounds like he's talking way faster than he normally does.
We had drones up. We had deputies out there. We had canines out there. And it's one of those things, she was a very wooded area, covered up. wind, weather, decomposition, those all play factors in a search. So I'll go back to it. It's everything in life works better when it's a team. And that lead our citizens, we mean it. We want our citizens to work with us. And that's what happened. The citizens were out there working with us. And those dogs do a phenomenal job. But this is the facts of life. We have to work together as a team. And when we work together as a team, those are those things that came together. And we were able to find Kathleen. That was a critical part. But, I'm proud of the work our detectives did. The focus of the investigation actually was those dumpsters. 14 industrial-sized dumpsters. People were, remember, the evidence, the blood-stained clothing was in those dumpsters. We had to search all those dumpsters before they got taken off to landfills. We wanted to make sure that every piece of evidence, God forbid if Kathleen was in one of those dumpsters, that we found her before they were taken out of our community. That was a focus for us. There was no evidence that led us that she was going to be 50 yards into that wood line at the time. What was priority for us was getting in those dumpsters and making sure she was not in there. As horrible, as gruesome as that sounds, it's the truth. And that's what we had to focus on at the time. But as we go back, was that area going to be searched again? Yes, because we did our due diligence in those dumpsters. We were going to go back to other areas to keep searching. We know it was critical to find her. We know it was critical to Bruce Bartlett's office at the state attorney's office to make sure that they get prosecution. And I know, and I heard people, oh, how can you make that arrest? How can the state attorney get a warrant when there was no body? There was a lot of evidence. But we know finding her, 2 reasons. One, most importantly, is for her family. I can't imagine a family, one is knowing she's dead, but even worse is not knowing where she is. Second is to make sure we get prosecution, we get justice in this case. So I can understand that part where people say, I can't believe that, how can you not find her? It wasn't the focus at the time because all the evidence led us to believe she may have been in one of those 14 dumpsters.
Can you talk a little bit about the evidence, a little bit more about that?
Okay, he said a couple things there. As gruesome as that may sound, it's the truth. That's something that just comes along with any true crime case. As gruesome as it may sound. And so much of it is so gruesome. So much of it. That's why it's a true crime case. Because it's gruesome. And we have to take our feelings and set those aside. Oh, man. Sorry, I'm trying to get my son stuff ready for school. It's early in the morning, but I just felt compelled to do this video right now because we need answers. We need the right path. We need to go down the right path to find the right answers. And I'm stuck on this now, knowing that this is a common thing. Dogs are not 100% accurate. Polygraph tests are not 100% accurate. Okay, people can fool a polygraph test. Obviously, environment can fool a dog. Multiple dogs. I'm trying to pick a path, where should we go? Where should we look? Where should we put our focus? And I feel like I keep going back to Dawn and Candace. I keep going back to Candace knows more. Dawn knows more. In my opinion, they both know more than what they're saying. And that's my opinion, of course. And I keep going back to that. Especially with the spirit box session that I'm working on right now. I mean, oh my gosh. If you have not watched part 1 of the spirit box session or any of the 2 sneak peeks that I shared, oh my gosh. Dawn and Candace's name both came up during the spirit box session. Both of them. Okay, so I'm going to end it. I have to go get my son up now. You guys, please let me know what you think about this. Am I just overreacting? Am I getting too emotional? Because I try to take my emotions out of cases because I know that that's a huge thing. People get too emotional. They get too wrapped up and then they get blinded. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to be blinded. I want to be open-minded to every situation. I want to be open-minded to every possibility. Okay, so what do you think? What is your opinion now after hearing everything that I've shared, seeing everything that I've shared? What is your opinion now? What path do you think that we should focus on? Should we go back and review the interviews that Candace and Dawn have done? I mean, we know that Dawn has done plenty, and we know that Candace has done a few. So should we go back and review those? Do you want me to focus more on spirit box sessions? Do you want me to focus more on the paranormal aspect, or do you want me to focus more on the interviews that the parents have done? Where do you want me to go? Now, I am currently working on finishing part 2 of my spirit box session with my questions, and then I will be working on the spirit box session with all of your questions. So as soon as I get all of that done, that's when I will start leading down the path that you guys suggest, okay? That's where I want to start after I get all this done. So please leave me your comment below where you think I should go. What path do you want to join me on? You know, where should we go? Make sure you're subscribed. Please ring the bell, hit the thumbs up, and please, please, please leave me a comment below and let me know what you think. It is so important, and I am very interested in reading your comments. Thank you so very much for watching this video. That's all I have for right now. I'm sorry I was all over the place. Hot Mess Express right here. The title of this video should be Hot Mess Express. I don't know what the title is going to end up, but thank you so very much for watching. We need to find Summer. We need to bring Summer home. We need justice for Summer. And I know that that is all of our goals. All of us, no matter what view we have with all the drama bullshit that's going on YouTube right now, we all have one goal in common. We all want to find Summer. We all want to bring Summer home, and we all want justice for Summer. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I love you bunches.